Okay, Pete, so we need to know how to assemble and install this. So take us through the different options for mounting the ODU then.
Okay, for the outdoor unit we've got wall or pole mount, but the assembly of the bracketry is the same for both. So on the rear of the device we've got 4 screws. We're actually only going to be using 2 of these. That's what we generally do. The first thing we need to mount is the back plate. So this back plate sits over the 2 screws. I'm going to take the screw pack and empty that on the counter so you can see what we've got. We've got a long bolt. We'll come to that in a second. A series of washers and nuts. Some of them are spring-loaded washers, some of them are flat washers. So various different sizes, and just put them out in the correct order. There's mounting screws for wall mounting. There's the nuts, and then there's 2 larger bolts which we'll need for mounting these 2 assemblies together. So first thing we're going to do is take the right size, which is the smaller one of the 2, 2 spring-loaded washers and 2 flat washers. So flats on first, springs on second, and then 2 of these bolts. For doing the assembly, I'm going to need 2 spanners. I'm going to need a 13mm and a 10mm. The 10mm is for this size, and I'll pick that up. Okay, that's enough. So the spring washer is compressed, that's now firmly in place. The next part of the assembly is for the next bracket. So this is on the long bolt. So the long bolt shoots through the middle, and we will need as one of the medium-sized washers for that too. So I'll put that on there. So spring over the bolt, flat over the bolt, and then the bolt slides through the centre of the bracket, and it has a threaded bar at the far side, or a threaded bolt container to the far side. Put that through there, and the 13mm spanner. Just when it starts to bite, we're going to take the bracket, and the bracket wants to be about 90 degrees. This flat edge wants to be 90 degrees to the flat edge at the back of the radio. That's our elevation. So when it comes to being mounted on the next bracket, if we want the dish to have down tilt or up tilt, depending on where it's going to be, that's where we get it from. So in most situations, we're going to be horizontal, and there we go. That's that part of the assembly complete. So now we've got the bracket bolted to the back of the unit, the long bolt holding these 2 brackets together. The third part of the bracket is where this will sit on the top surface and bolt through from the top. This allows us left and right rotation again. So if the transmission from the property, that's the wall of the property, and the transmitter's in the direction, that's how we get the signal and the tune in to get the best possible signal. So to do this part, we've got these 2 bolts. So we're going to use, again, the spring washers and the long washers. There we go. And that's going to go through the pin in the centre, where I can find centre. There we are. And when we're ready, that's easy to tighten these bolts up in situ when you've got the angle that you want to mount. So that's the full assembly. If you want to mount this unit onto a pole, then the additional parts you'll require are the 2 U-bolts. This is why you'll need a larger than normal, so you can't use it like a thin TV antenna pole. You need something a bit more substantial. So we recommend a 2-inch diameter pole, aluminium pole, easily mountable on any wall surface or chimney bracket. And then you'll see that the threads on this That's why you need a larger pole, because you can only thread down as far as you've got on the bolts. So a small TV bracket here, you haven't got any thread to tighten up. So that's why you need the thicker pole. 2-inch diameter should be fine, and then you can bolt this down and mount it on a pole bracket.